Your phone buzzes. You glance at it for just a second, but suddenly 30 minutes have vanished into the digital void. Sound familiar? Here's the brutal truth. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day. That's once every 10 minutes during waking hours. Your attention isn't just scattered, it's being systematically hijacked by forces designed to profit from your distraction. But what if I told you that reclaiming your focus isn't about willpower or discipline? What if the solution lies in understanding how attention actually works and using that knowledge to redesign your mental environment? In the next 15 minutes, you'll discover a scientifically backed system that transforms scattered minds into laser-focused machines. This isn't another productivity hack that you'll forget by tomorrow. This is the focus formula, and it's about to change everything. Chapter 1: The Attention Crisis. Your brain is under siege, and most people don't even realize they're at war. Modern technology has created what researchers call continuous partial attention, a state where you're always monitoring multiple streams of information, but never fully engaged with any of them. This isn't your fault. Tech companies employ teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists whose sole job is to make their products irresistible. Here's what's happening in your brain. Every notification, every ping, every flash of color triggers a dopamine response. Your brain starts craving these micro hits of stimulation, creating what scientists call an addiction loop. But here's the kicker. This constant switching between tasks doesn't just feel exhausting. It literally rewires your neural pathways. Studies show that heavy multitaskers have less gray matter in the area of the brain responsible for sustained attention. Think about this. When was the last time you read an entire book without checking your phone? When did you last have a conversation without glancing at a screen? If you're struggling to remember, you're not alone. The average adult attention span has dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to just 8 seconds today. That's shorter than a goldfish. But here's where it gets interesting. Your brain is incredibly plastic. The same neuroplasticity that allowed these bad habits to form can be harnessed to rebuild your focus. The key is understanding that attention isn't a single skill. It's actually 3 distinct networks working together. Chapter 2: The 3 Networks of Attention. Neuroscientist Michael Posner identified 3 attention networks that control how your mind processes information. Understanding these networks is like getting the owner's manual for your brain. First, there's the alerting network. This is your brain's early warning system, constantly scanning for threats and opportunities. It's the part that makes you look up when someone says your name or notice movement in your peripheral vision. This network is supposed to work in the background, but modern life has it stuck in overdrive. Second is the orienting network, which directs your attention to specific locations, objects, or thoughts. When you consciously decide to focus on reading this script, that's your orienting network at work. This network can be trained and strengthened, but it requires the right approach. Third is the executive network, your brain's CEO. It monitors conflicts between different inputs and decides what deserves your attention. This network is what separates humans from other animals, but it's also the most fragile. Stress, fatigue, and constant interruptions can quickly overwhelm it. Here's the crucial insight. These networks don't work independently. They're interconnected, and when one is compromised, the others suffer. That's why you can't just tell yourself to focus harder. You need to optimize all 3 networks simultaneously. Most people try to improve their focus by using brute force, gritting their teeth and trying to concentrate harder. But that's like trying to lift weights with a broken arm. You need to heal the system first, then strengthen it strategically. Chapter 3: The Distraction Audit. Before you can reclaim your attention, you need to understand exactly how it's being stolen. This requires brutal honesty about your current habits. Most people wildly underestimate how often they get distracted because the interruptions have become invisible. Start by tracking your attention for 1 full day. Every time you switch tasks, check your phone, or get distracted, make a note. Don't try to change anything yet, just observe. You'll be shocked by what you discover. One study found that knowledge workers check email every 6 minutes on average. Another found that it takes an average of 23 minutes and 15 seconds to fully refocus after an interruption. But here's what's really insidious. Even when you resist the urge to check your phone, just knowing it's there creates what researchers call cognitive residue. Part of your brain remains allocated to monitoring that potential source of stimulation, reducing your available mental resources. The audit reveals 3 types of distractions: external interruptions like notifications and noise, internal interruptions like wandering thoughts and emotions, and task-switching interruptions, when you voluntarily jump between activities. Each type requires a different solution. External interruptions are the easiest to fix but require the most courage. You need to ruthlessly eliminate unnecessary notifications, create physical barriers between yourself and distracting devices, and design your environment to support focus rather than fragment it. Internal interruptions are trickier because they come from within. These include worry, boredom, fatigue, and the constant mental chatter that psychologists call the default mode network. The key is learning to observe these interruptions without being controlled by them. Task-switching interruptions often feel productive because you're technically working, but they're actually the most damaging to deep focus. Every time you switch between tasks, your brain needs time to reorient, and some residual attention remains stuck on the previous task. Chapter 4: Environmental Design for Focus. Your environment is constantly shaping your behavior, often without you realizing it. The same way a messy room makes you feel chaotic, a distraction-rich environment makes focus nearly impossible. But when you intentionally design your space for concentration, focus becomes the path of least resistance. Start with your physical environment. Research shows that visual clutter competes for your attention and decreases performance. Clean, organized spaces promote clear thinking, but it goes deeper than just tidiness. Colors affect concentration, with blue and green promoting calm focus, while red increases arousal and urgency. Lighting matters more than most people realize. Natural light is ideal, but if that's not available, use bright, cool-toned lighting for analytical tasks and warmer, dimmer lighting for creative work. Temperature also plays a role. Studies show that productivity peaks at around 70 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Sound is another crucial factor. Complete silence isn't always best because it can make you hyper-aware of small noises. Instead, consider background sounds that mask distractions without demanding attention. Nature sounds, white noise, or instrumental music can create an acoustic cocoon that supports concentration. But the most important environmental factor is your digital environment. This is where most people lose the battle for their attention. Every app icon, every notification badge, every auto-playing video is designed to capture and hold your focus. You need to be just as intentional about designing your digital space as your physical one. Turn off all non-essential notifications, and I mean all of them. The only notifications you should receive are for true emergencies or time-sensitive communications. Everything else can wait until you choose to check it. Create friction between yourself and distracting apps. Move social media apps off your home screen, log out after each use, or better yet, delete them entirely and use browser versions when necessary. The extra steps create just enough resistance to break the automatic habit of mindless scrolling. Use app timers and website blockers during focus sessions. These tools aren't about restriction, they're about creating intentional boundaries that support your goals. Think of them as guardrails that keep you on the path of deep work. Chapter 5: The Physiology of Focus. Your ability to concentrate isn't just mental, it's deeply connected to your physical state. Understanding this connection gives you powerful tools for enhancing focus that most people never consider. Sleep is the foundation of attention. During sleep, your brain consolidates memories, clears metabolic waste, and resets the neural networks responsible for focus. Even modest sleep deprivation dramatically impairs attention. One night of poor sleep can reduce your ability to focus by up to 40%. But it's not just about getting enough sleep, it's about getting quality sleep. Blue light from screens disrupts your circadian rhythm, making it harder to fall asleep and reducing sleep quality. Create a digital sunset by avoiding screens for at least 1 hour before bed. Exercise is like fertilizer for your brain. Physical activity increases production of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which promotes the growth of new neural connections. Just 20 minutes of moderate exercise can improve attention and working memory for up to 2 hours afterward. Nutrition directly affects your ability to focus. Your brain consumes about 20% of your daily calories, and it's particularly sensitive to fluctuations in blood sugar. Eating high sugar foods creates energy spikes, followed by crashes that leave you foggy and distracted. Instead, focus on steady burning fuels like complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, and protein. Hydration is often overlooked but critically important. Even mild dehydration can impair cognitive function. Your brain is about 75% water, and when you're dehydrated, it literally shrinks, making it harder to think clearly. Breathing affects focus more than most people realize. When you're stressed or anxious, your breathing becomes shallow and rapid, which signals your brain to remain in a state of alertness. Deep, slow breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting calm focus. Try the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This pattern naturally slows your heart rate and promotes relaxation while maintaining alertness. Chapter 6. The Practice of Single Tasking. Multitasking is a myth. What you think of as multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and it's devastating to both productivity and focus. Every time you switch between tasks, you pay what psychologists call a switching cost. Your brain needs time to reorient, and some mental resources remain allocated to the previous task. The antidote is single tasking, the practice of giving your full attention to one thing at a time. This sounds simple, but it requires retraining your brain to resist the constant urge to switch between activities. Start with time boxing. Choose one task and commit to working on it for a specific period, say 25 minutes. During this time, you're not allowed to check email, browse the web, or think about other tasks. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the task at hand. The key is starting small. If you can't focus for 25 minutes, try 10. If 10 minutes feels impossible, start with 5. The goal is to build your focus muscle gradually, like training for a marathon. Use the 2-minute rule for distractions. When a distracting thought enters your mind, ask yourself, can this be done in 2 minutes or less? If yes, you can choose to do it immediately. If no, write it down and return to your primary task. This prevents important thoughts from being lost while maintaining focus on your current priority. Practice the art of monotasking in daily activities. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. When you listen to someone speak, just listen. This trains your brain to be fully present in each moment rather than constantly dividing attention between multiple streams.